like to give everybody out there listening a very warm White Cat welcome, because you're tuned in to the White Cat Outdoors podcast. What's going on, guys? This is episode, I think, 25 of the White Cat Outdoors podcast, and Luke decided to show up tonight. It's pretty wild. He hasn't been here in a while.
I know. I usually take a few weeks off in between, just get my bearings back.
Yeah, you can't have too much of a good thing. It just goes sour after a while.
I need something to talk about. I got to do stuff in between each one. So
yeah, and you don't do a lot, so it takes a few weeks to get some content.
Yeah, I'm pretty laid back.
You are. You don't do much. But we also have a couple of guests in the house tonight, and Luke, I'll just pass it to you since you're the fishing guy. You hang out with these guys a lot, so you take it away.
So we'll just start off. We'll go around the horn. Again, to my left, we got Anthony.
What's up, guys?
And Bailey, one further down.
How's it going?
And if you guys want to just talk a little bit about...
Yeah, where can we find you?
Yeah, about your pages, Anthony, if you want to start off about, like, just what does Anthony do? Who is Anthony?
Who is Anthony? Well, that's a loaded question. So, the Outdoors Anthony... I have an Instagram page. It's _N_fishing. And I've been fishing, since I could walk. And I moved to Erie maybe like 5 or so years ago and linked up with Bailey to my left.
Where are you from originally?
Easton, Pennsylvania. It's right outside of Philadelphia. So, grew up trout fishing. So, steelhead's a little new to me, but kind of adopted it and moved out here and
picked it up pretty quick, huh?
Oh yeah, it's kind of second nature. There's a little learning curve, but it wasn't that bad.
Were you always like fly fishing? Did you start fly fishing young, or were you just like spin cast fishing before and then evolved into it?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So, Philadelphia is not really a known trout area.
Yeah.
But we do have some streams that hold over wild browns and hold over stock trout year round. So, good mix of, bait fishing, fly fishing, kind of a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
So, Bailey, where can we look you up at?
All right, so I run a page called Chromatics. It's C-H. I ain't gonna spell it because
it's tough to spell.
I never spell anything good when I'm talking on the spot. So if you just look up Chrome and Addicts in the same word together, throw an underscore on the end of that, or just look up my name, Bailey Maloney. It'll probably come up. I got a YouTube channel too. Same thing, same name.
We're actually
about 25 videos right now. If you guys want to check that out.
Speaking of, what time is it? Is it 6:30?
Yeah, it's at 6:30. We just had a video drop.
4 minutes. 4 minutes. It's gonna drop.
Gonna drop.
What are you dropping?
Video. Yeah.
Muskie. Oh man.
Yeah, Luke and I went out a few weeks ago. It might even been a little longer than that, and we.
I think Luke was telling me about that when you got. He said you guys were on like every 10 casts. You were just lighting it up.
Little secret spot we got.
Yeah. Be sure to give Latin longs for that spot.
Yeah, we keep that spot secluded. But yeah, talk a little bit about that, because that was like Anthony said, you basically are a lot of trout fishing and steelhead and salmon and never really targeted muskie. So when you finally got one on the end of your rod, what was that like?
Oh yeah, I've always been. I was born in South Florida, and I moved up here when I was young. So, I always liked that kind of, I guess I had that, more southern fishing style.
Yeah.
Where I was big fan of catfishing, bass, and carp. Mm-hmm. And carp's probably one of my favorite things to catch. And muskie, just always one of them fish that's eluded me for most of my life. And I've tried for it, caught many pike, and I've caught a lot of pickerel.
Pike are a little bit easier to get on the line.
A little bit. And so Luke, he's caught a handful of fish, and actually more than a handful. He knows what he's doing. So we got together, we went out, did a little live bait fishing at a super secret spot. I don't think anyone's ever fished this place before.
If you recognize it from the YouTube video that he drops, I'd be baffled.
Oh yeah,
no landmarks in that video.
I'm pretty sure the background on the thumbnail is the actual spillway itself.
Bro, I was never there. I knew exactly where it was.
Pretty secret.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of fish there, and we got you one. So
yeah, that was
cool. That was your first muskie?
Oh yeah, man, it was exhilarating.
Yeah, it's a good time. I started muskie fishing probably. I was maybe 17, and I've been fishing my whole life too. And me and my one buddy that I shot with for years, he was big into muskie fishing, like fly fishing for muskies. And I hadn't really got into fly fishing yet, so I would just go, casting with him while he was fly fishing. And like you said, it takes a while before you get your first one. It definitely is a daunting task when you're trying to figure it out.
Especially when you're going. I think I know what lake you're probably talking about, where northern pike to muskie ratio is about 50 to 1. So you got to be out there for a while.
Yeah, you got to weed through 400 northerns before you can get a muskie.
And then after you weed through the 400 northerns, you got to weed through the 8,000 bowfin.
Yeah, that's no joke.
But we actually planning a trip together here. Pretty excited to do that. We're going to go up to Frank's stomping grounds and
the old AK.
Go up to Alaska. It's my first time. I think it's yours too, Anthony and Bailey, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time coming, but we finally made it happen.
Right on. What river you guys fishing?
We're staying right on the Kenai and Russian, but we have a bunch of little trips mapped out too. We're gonna hit up.
Right on.
Do a little bit of traveling, but it was kind of funny story how it happened. We were fishing one day and just kind of threw it out there like, hey, we should go to Alaska.
You know what? Let's go to Alaska.
And Bailey ended up booking a trip and said, all right, mine's booked. And a couple hours later,
oh, you guys weren't serious about that?
Anthony booked his.
So yeah, I kind of booked the trip and then accidentally booked the Airbnb.
That
and
is
paid in full.
Yeah, we were on FaceTime or something on Instagram, and everyone just started laughing. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, well, you better buy your plane ticket because
hope you can get off work because we're going.
Airbnb is $2K.
Airbnb is booked for a week, so you better get it. But
what time are you guys going? What run are you fishing?
One of the dates. I think it's the 5th to the 17th. I want to say.
We'll get back on the 17th. We're gonna hit the tail end run of like the first sockeye and coho and pink run, and then like the second one picks up and starts like right around then too. So we're gonna hit it pretty good, get a decent variety of fish.
Yeah, it was Luke actually texted me one day and asked, he's like, dude, do you want to go to Alaska this summer? And I was like, well, I already kind of have plans to go up there for moose season because that's, right at the tail end of summer, the beginning of September. He's like, well, when are you going? And I was like, well, because I normally leave like the beginning of August to set up camps, and then we have bear hunters come in, and then moose season starts the beginning of September. He's like, then I guess you're not invited because that's right the same time you guys are going. So,
it would have been cool. I mean, we still got some time, and a couple other people might join us up there, but it's gonna be interesting. We're 3 real knowledgeable fishermen, but have never stepped foot in Alaska, but.
Yeah, it definitely changes the game when you get into new waters and new fish.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to figure it out and hopefully end up being pretty successful. It might take a day or two to kind of figure out the groove, where the fish are, how to fish them, and whatnot. But I think with all 3 of our heads together, we should be able to figure it out pretty easy.
I disagree. First day, first hour.
First hour, we're getting fish.
We're getting tripled in the
non-stop.
first hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's all there is to it.
Yep. It don't take us very long to figure out trout waters, so I mean, it's just like the idea of taking it all in, I guess, and then just like going after it. But I'm not like doubting at all in my mind that we're not going to catch at least 2,000 fish.
Oh, If you know at all what you're doing,
it's gonna be.
And we're going. How many days is that? Like the 5th to 17th. So we got 12 days. So like a solid 10 days of fishing.
Yeah, all day.
At like 16 hours of sunlight too, and
yeah,
weather pending. But I think it'll be pretty good.
Well, me and Bailey both have got quite a bit invested into film equipment, and Bailey's even got a drone and everything. So,
dude, I love drone videos, like in fishing videos. It's so sick. Makes everything. It just looks awesome when you're dropping the drone in on top of shit. It's awesome.
We're gonna film something tomorrow. It's
what do you?
Those of you.
What are you fishing tomorrow?
We're gonna go do like a little challenge video, but we found like a nice stack of carp that are all piled up in a creek, and we're gonna have like a little challenge video for that. We're gonna just kind of split $50 2 ways and see who can pick up. Like we're gonna pick up our own little rod reel combo at Walmart.
The Barbie rod special.
Yeah, probably like a cheap like $10 5-foot Zebco or something.
Yeah,
depends on what it is. But we're gonna go can of corn apiece and see who can pull the most carp out of there. But I definitely want to fly the drone down and like get videos of like the aerial hookups and
Start
hopefully
fishing
just
with the
get
drone, dude. Just tie a line to it.
That's what they
I
do
don't
in
know.
Florida.
I've seen videos of people doing it.
Yeah, I don't know not with a carp. I'll pull that
Yeah,
thing.
that rip it right down.
See,
Maybe a bluegill.
Yeah, you got to put the release on it so it snaps off your drone.
Yeah.
I went with one of my buddies the other day. We went that pond that I was telling you guys about with the monster bluegill and sunfish, and we went there and we each caught like probably 20, 30 bluegill and sunfish, but our biggest one was like 11 and a half or 10 and a half, 10 and 3/4, so not quite big enough to make the leaderboard for the tournament we're in, but they're definitely in there. So
Yeah,
Well,
what
we're gonna
you were
get
telling me
that
about that
spot.
tournament? What?
there's it's an all species tournament, and it's just longest fish. It's no weight. It's longest fish for muskie, northern, carp, catfish, literally any
Yeah,
any
like
species
13
is on
different
there.
Species of fish. It's pretty like laid back, easy going. It's like just biggest, longest fish in each category.
You just send
Everyone's-
pictures in.
Yeah,
Yep.
they send you a tape measure, and you just take the picture of the fish with the tape measure next to it. Has to just like follow their guidelines for it. They have to be able to zoom in and like tell it's their tape measure and what the size of it is, and like see it clearly. And then they throw you up on a leaderboard, and it goes till Halloween. And then at the end of the day, you get they give out a bunch of cool stuff.
So that's a
So,
long one. When did
Yeah.
it start?
like beginning of April, I think.
Yeah,
guys?
it's a long tournament, but
Yeah.
and like Bailey said, they're not cash payouts. It's all like prizes, but they give out like nice bait casters and rods and
Yeah.
just tackle and like tackle boxes too, and it's really fun. And I mean, it was only what $25 to get in.
Yeah,
So I
it's
mean, it
pretty
just
cheap.
kind of gives you something to fish for. And actually, we've mentioned him on here a couple times, but my buddy Hunter Daniels, we're going catfishing tomorrow. So I think the leaderboard right now is 32 inches.
That's
so
definitely doable.
yeah, so we're gonna go to a flathead spot that he introduced me to, and
Gonna pull a 40 out.
yeah, I don't think well, if they're in there, we've pulled them out way bigger than 32, but if they're in there, I don't think we'll have any problem hitting that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you, Anthony, have been doing some catfishing in the past couple years, but did you get out this year at all?
No, so our spot's a little messed up right now. The where the creek comes into the lake, we usually fish. There's kind of an island there that you can't get out to unless you have a kayak, and the flow is just all kinds of messed up. But last year, I mean, we were catching, 10 to 20 pound catfish all night long off the beach.
Nice.
And I got probably like a 23 pounder on the center pin,
Yeah, it was
which was leading the contest. Until
I bet
some
that
dude
was a
beat
good
it.
fight on a center pin.
Oh yeah, I
Stupid.
thought it was like a rock for the first 2 minutes, and it started moving.
I got nothing.
Yeah,
Don't even worry about it.
yeah. He bent that rod to the cork.
I
thought
bet.
for sure it was gonna break.
Yeah.
That was the funniest shit I ever seen.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Speaking of rods breaking, I think the second or third time I went fishing with you guys, Anthony snapped one of his rods on a sucker. And we were,
Dude,
Yeah.
I just broke one like 3 days ago. I broke one of my bait casters.
how'd you do that?
I was pulling up like a 2-pound bass, and it like popped right at the bank, snapped back, and hit a tree, and I was like, oh.
I was gonna say, how did you break off with a 2
2-pound
pound bass?
Oh yeah, I mean, I could change the story up to say it was like a 12. and
Yeah, that's a better
flip
story.
it, broken on the flip, but no, that was definitely not the case. Nobody would have believed me, especially Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you don't find very many 12 pounders in Pennsylvania.
You don't find very many like 6 or 7s in Pennsylvania.
No, not at all.
Well, we went the other day, and that one I caught was probably right around that 6 mark.
Yeah,
that-
I'd say between 5 and 6.
And that was a tough day of fishing.
That was terrible.
It was a tough day getting out there to
Oh.
start out with.
I have videos
We-
coming soon.
I think we should just recap a little bit to try and give the listeners a visual of what extent we went to get to this pond.
So
Okay, so wait, I
think
got
about
this.
the
Yeah,
Lewis
yeah.
and Clark expedition.
No. So just visualize like a motorcycle trailer, and then visualize a dolly, and then put them together and strap about 5 kayaks to it, and then walk a mile through the woods. Probably more than a mile. Probably a mile.
It was
and
probably a
half, 2
mile and a
miles.
half through mud
Yeah.
and hay and up and down over
Gravel
bridges
and
and
rocks.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Like big ruts and like.
It was
nuts,
it took every bit of an hour to get back there.
Yeah,
That definitely sounds like a Lewis and Clark expedition.
it was.
I hope it
was
paid off though. How many fish did you get?
I mean, we pulled probably 30 bass out of there, but
Yeah.
like we didn't get. I mean, the biggest one I popped was probably 3 pounds. He got, like Luke said, he got one that was probably 5, 6, and then everything else was just small. But we hit it so bad. It was.
There was a monsoon whipping through, like there was a hurricane with
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
there was probably 15-20 mile an hour like gusts and or
Oh,
like
yeah,
30
white
mile an hour
caps.
gusts and like just a solid like 12 to 15 mile an hour just breeze. So you'd paddle in your kayak for
How big was this
That-
pond?
it was huge. It was I'd say it'd probably be like a 15-20 acre pond.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a small lake, and but there were a bunch of stumps growing into it, so we would paddle up for the better part of 20 minutes, and then finally hit a stump and try and tie a rope around
Yeah,
it or
hang
something,
up
just
on
to
that for a little bit.
just to give yourself a break so you could get 5 casts in before you slipped off the stump and rolled down to the next one. But
Yeah.
blow you to the other side of the lake in about 30 seconds.
yeah, that-
Paddle all the way back.
Yeah.
Well, what I did actually, I was like, we did that for like 4 or 5 hours, like just all day, and I got sick of it and was like, you know what? I'm gonna work with this. So I would paddle all the way down the lake, throw 2
Troll
rods
to the
out.
other side.
Yep, I would throw 2 rods out and just let the wind push me, and it gave me enough action. Actually, I caught a crappie on a KVD, like a 5, 6, or 5 to 8 foot, I think they dive, KVD, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 2 inches long, and just big old crappie just plugged it.
Smacked.
Yeah, it was. I don't have any intentions of ever going back to that pond again.
No,
And-
we're going back.
And
At least not when it's blowing 20 miles an
unless
hour.
Bailey texts me and says we're going, then I'll probably be in.
We're
But
dragging the boat out there, and
What?
yeah, that
Yeah, where have
new,
you been?
new plan. We came over.
we were just discussing this in the garage before we came over here.
Just
yeah.
left you out of the conversation.
I showed up late,
Yeah,
so
he got there late, but
the brains wasn't in the operation.
it's totally doable to drag a boat out there. Not like a big giant bass boat, but like Luke's got like a 14-foot,
Yeah, aluminum.
boat.
Yeah.
Trailer's pretty light, so we just hook it up the same way we did last time. It should be relatively easy to get it out there. But if we get a boat out there, a little trolling rig, and we get an anchor in there, I think we'll be looking pretty
Yeah,
good.
it won't be quite as much work sitting in
Yeah.
one spot casting.
We can stand and
So,
flip and.
They're gonna
fish.
drag a boat, and I'm gonna go on Amazon and buy an inflatable kayak for
There you
60
go.
bucks.
Keep it in your pocket.
Put it in my backpack and paddle around and laugh at them while they're dragging their boat. By the time they get there, I already catch a dozen bass.
Blowgun at it.
We'll go bow fishing, and I'll bring the bow. Speaking of
Launch
bow
one.
fishing,
Yeah, we're
actually,
doing that tomorrow.
that's gonna be the first time I've been out this year. So
I haven't been out at all either.
were you out last year at all? Did you get out, or has it been a few years for you? I know you've been itching.
No, I think I went one time last year. I just didn't have any time at all last year because right now we're usually pretty busy at work, so I didn't really have any time to go. But with all the Corona bullshit going on, I got all the time in the world. So we're going.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. I don't know really what the weather's looking like. I know it's not supposed to rain, but
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be pretty nice. I don't think it's supposed to be windy or anything.
hopefully, yeah. It's been windy the past couple days, so
It was shit last night.
yeah.
I-
It was a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
It was ripping.
And it was like 90 degrees in this house, and I was trying to sleep, and our power went out, so I didn't even have a fan or anything. I was dying last night. It was ridiculous.
So yeah, hopefully we can get out. I need to get you guys out there and do that too. I got a little secret spot we go boat fishing at, but I
It's
can
another one of those super secret spots that nobody
Yeah.
knows about.
Oh yeah,
Super
I'm
secret.
sure.
Except literally everybody.
Yeah,
on the
everyone knows.
western side of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. But if we go tomorrow, we'll see if there's fish in there, and what we can do is we can go out on the boat and cast for these. I can almost guarantee they'd hit top water. They've never seen a lure in their life.
You
So,
talking to carp?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
But I know like a lot of fish don't really feed a whole lot when they're spawning. I mean, I've never targeted carp during their spawn. So.
we are like right now is like almost peak spawn. Like there's still a couple moving in that are trailing behind, that haven't started. But like the majority of the carp are going to be spawning and thrashing tomorrow,
Yeah.
so we're going to see the water boiling and the weeds, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how easy or how difficult it would be, but I'm still trying to play it back in my head if I should bring the camera or not, because that could be a
I would
pretty
definitely.
sweet video.
You always bring the camera, no matter what.
It's
You brought the
it's
camera on our perch fishing trip where we caught 2 friggin' perch.
Yeah, but those perch were huge.
They were huge. They were
they were big fish.
Where's the video?
It didn't get posted because it'd be about
because there was only 3 perch.
about a 30-second video. But no, that's
30
that-
seconds of quality content, though.
That's
Throw a
that's
bunch of B-roll in it. You're good.
Yeah, exactly. Make it a 30-minute video.
Make it juicy.
that's all you
Yeah,
need.
you
You know,
catch
these
2
videos
fish.
are like, oh man, he catches so many fish. It's like, well, I was out there for a little while. But some days though, that's why it's fishing. Some days you go out there and absolutely destroy them and catch fish after fish after fish, and other days you go like me and Bailey. The first time we went muskie fishing, it was on. We nailed them. We went back the next day, caught 1, or not the next day, like a weekend later.
Actually, we would have probably caught way more that day, but they kicked up the water at the
Oh.
reservoir because we were smacking.
really?
We had like 5 runs in the first like hour and a half, and then like they let out water and it went up like
forgot
2
about
feet.
that.
Killed
Just
it.
died.
Yeah.
Yep. It was. We were on track for a good day.
We got like
What?
one, like it was probably like 16 inches or something, little guy, off the little corner.
Yeah, we got something.
And we got a smallmouth too.
Yeah, you caught. Well, no, you caught that one.
I
It
got
was
a
probably-
nice
You got
one.
one. It was probably like 29, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was decent ski, but it
Like 37, I'd say it was,
was
depending
like
on
53.
depending on the camera
pounds.
angle. Yeah. But so back to Alaska though.
Yeah, I was actually just about to bring it back to Alaska. What made you guys pick the Kenai?
Well, all right. First of all, when we picked Alaska, we weren't even gonna pick Alaska because we were driving to New York to get alcohol because PA sucks.
Yeah,
We didn't have anything
everything's
open.
closed.
Yep.
And like we were looking at before all this went down, there was flights to Orlando that Anthony was telling me about. There was like a $30 round trip. He's like, let's go to Florida and send it for like 3 days. And I was like, oh yeah. And then it never happened. And then we were driving out to New York and we were just, talking and like, you know what? We should just book a flight for when this is over. Because it's probably the same price, probably super cheap. So we were looking at Colorado and stuff like that. Utah, maybe hit the Green River or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yo, the salmon runs in the summer. And I'm like, oh, right.
I guess we're going.
So we just started looking at that. Round trip was like $300 for a flight. Couldn't pass it up. So
Yeah,
you know.
that's not bad.
So that's like-
because normally when I go up, I want to say my flight like into Anchorage from Erie or Cleveland, wherever I fly out of, up to Anchorage is like around $600-700. So
Yeah.
you're definitely cutting the price in half.
Oh, for sure. We need that extra money for a lot of alcohol we're probably going to buy.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a little bit of a party along with the fishing.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a good time up there. It's going to be a little bit of everything. But
Mhm.
we're excited to experience some Alaskan culture and,
Yeah. Well,
Enjoy.
that culture is full of
Alaskan
alcohol,
culture.
so you'll fit right in.
What do you guys do? Catch fish and drink.
Come with us.
Us too.
that's all we do up
I'm
here.
gonna go with that guy.
But
Catch me at the saloon.
So, do you know anyone that has fished the Kenai? Like, what made you finally settle on the Kenai, or it was just something you
Oh.
heard about?
It was the cheapest option because if we were to land in Anchorage and go somewhere else, we'd have to hop on a prop plane, go to some island, and go
Yeah,
to
and
some
that gets
lodge,
expensive.
Yeah, so I have a buddy, Brad. He lives down in Pittsburgh. He got it up there for years, so I gave him a shot of a text real quick and got some input from him, and he was talking about he was in Denali State Park, whatever. And that's where he guided at, but he knew people that fished the Kenai and all that area, and he was like, it's good over there wherever you go, really.
Yeah, and Denali is a lot farther inland, so they don't
Yeah.
get as good. I mean, they still get the run, but it's not as good as
Yeah.
obviously right on the coast.
Yeah, we were looking for more of a mix of a guarantee
Yeah.
and also the chance to go explore some lesser known spots.
Yeah.
See what else is out there.
yeah, we didn't want to go up there and go somewhere completely remote and come back empty-handed, but we also wanted the option to get away from the huge crowd on the Kenai and the combat fishing and
Yeah.
maybe go explore some other feeder streams or like inland lakes that are around that area and try and catch some more more challenging fish, because that's always fun when you actually like work hard and finally end up getting that
Yeah,
fish.
getting
like,
into the native rainbows and grayling and stuff like that.
yeah, I want to catch a grayling in like a dolly and just try and get like almost like one of everything. Like
Yeah.
we were talking about doing like a species contest to see like who can catch the most in one day or something. To
Honestly, like dolly are my favorite fish to eat. I don't really like salmon or anything like that. I've never been a big salmon guy, but when I was commercial fishing up there when I was in high school, and we would keep a lot of fish to eat for dinner, and I was like, yeah, no, I'll have something else. But the sea dollies are super good. I would definitely recommend those.
So when we're up there and we're only taking one trip to Walmart the day we get there, and then
Eating fish from there on
eating
out.
everything else. So yeah, what
Ramen noodles
what would
for the
you
whole week.
recommend seriously? Like out of the fish that we were gonna pull out that we can keep, what are your favorites? I know you said the dollies. I know your dad likes the silvers, but
Yeah, the
I don't
silvers
think,
aren't terrible, but
I don't think we're gonna really hit peak silver. I think they're gonna be just about done by the time we get there. But I don't
they'll
know
be
a whole lot
pretty
about
much
it.
done running, but you won't have like zombies. Like if you see a king, it'll be a zombie. Like you
Right.
won't be keeping any kings. But a lot of the silvers you're gonna find won't be totally spawned out, so they won't be bad to eat. But I don't really like. But I'm not a good person to gauge it off of because I don't like salmon that much. So,
Yeah.
but definitely, if you catch dollies, keep those. And grayling are very good too.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We're so unfamiliar with the area. We gotta look up and study a little bit the regulations and like hook sizes and where you can fish like tandems or if you can or split shot distance and everything, because we don't really know. Like up here, we know our regulations like the back of our hand, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have to really buckle down because the game enforcement up there is insane.
Yeah, they don't play around up there.
No, but
That's where you guys got me. I read the regulations book for last year like twice, at least like the parts that I feel like we're gonna be in.
encounter.
And I mean I've done my research on Google Maps. Like I've looked at every single creek that flows into the entire Kenai Peninsula. Like I know where I want to go. I know where we want to target, and like I know where we're gonna hopefully hit more trout and dollies and salmon and stuff like that. But the best place that I've found that I think will fit our type of fishing is Deep Creek, and that's you can fish for just about anything out of there. There's like no closed season for salmon and like trout out of there. Like I know in some of the tributaries that flow into the upper Russian River, you can only target trout. If you see salmon up there, they're spawning in their spawning grounds, and you can't.
Yeah, they
go
don't
after
get
them.
up. Yeah.
But Deep Creek, you can fish and keep anything out of there. At least in the time frame that we're going to be there for
Yeah.
sure, except for the king salmon, obviously. But
Yeah.
they have you can use I'm pretty sure you can only use one hook for that. I'm not sure. I got to check that again. But you're allowed to use regular bait and flies and pretty much anything with the same rule of the split shot 18 inches above the hook and stuff like that. But the regulations are a little more lenient down there than they are up in like the Kenai and the Russian, which is which is better because I like versatility. I like to be able to.
Especially if you're
like to be able
drinking,
to
you don't
spice it
have to
up.
think about all those
Oh,
rules.
for sure, yeah. You gotta have a flask at all times.
I'm just excited because like the closest I've ever been to like that big water is in the past couple of years. I've explored a little bit up in New York, which is, I mean, nowhere near Alaska, but I mean
No, but they still get decent
the,
salmon
They got
runs.
the salmon runs that come up through there, and like some. I know Alaska doesn't have big browns, but just the size and the caliber of fish that move out of
That's what you said.
Ontario.
There's not like big browns, but we've caught some monster rainbows up, and you're not really going to be about like where I've spent a lot of my time, but still there's some hog rainbows up there. So if
Yeah.
you catch any rainbows, you got a chance of catching a once in a lifetime rainbow.
Yeah,
That's-
30
that's what
plus
we're
inch
hoping
wild
for.
will be pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna go fish the next trip is New Zealand, and we're gonna catch a 30-pounder. So
Yeah,
we're gonna
That'll
have
be
to
the day.
triple our plane ticket price, but
yeah. Wait for another virus or something to hit. You get a real.
Even
That-
with the
that's what-
virus, it was still like $2,000.
Yeah.
Just trust me, I looked.
We already tried that too.
That was our first option.
Had to default
before
back to
Alaska was
Alaska.
even
Yeah.
like a thought. Yeah.
but I know, like I said, that's really the closest I've been. But I know, Anthony, you've spent a little more time. Actually, I shouldn't say a lot more time in New York than I have fishing for salmon and whatnot. Like, what's your like favorite type of like stream fishing? Because I know, like Bailey said, he loves catching carp and catfish, like that southern style, and I'm more I like going out on my boat and catching the muskie and the walleye and
Yeah,
stuff
and you
like
grew
that.
up on Lake Erie.
And,
so.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, I absolutely love trout fishing, but I know you've caught a lot of salmon in your day. Like, what's your bread and butter now?
Yeah, so growing up in Philly, the Salmon River is actually the closest tributary driving wise. It's about 3 hours from Philadelphia. So
That's not terrible.
no, it's just like geography wise, like it's
Yeah.
from Erie, it's like 4.5, 5 hours driven that too, and it's not fun. But that's like the main river to catch salmon out of up in New York, obviously. And they have giant
Salmon River with
Yeah.
salmon. Who would have thought?
right. It's like world renowned.
Yeah.
I figured it'd be one of those trick names where they tell people it's the Salmon
the
River,
Walleye
so
River.
they think.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, to be fair, last year it really sucked. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's also true.
It wasn't quite the Salmon River.
every
run
trip was
everywhere.
off
Yeah.
though. The lake flipped and pushed some fish out, and it was just that whole last year was just awkward.
It was the salmonless river.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyways,
But yeah, anyway, so I've been going up there since I was like, could hold the rod and not get pulled in by a 40-pound fish.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got pretty good at catching salmon, and I mean, in that river, you catch a trout during the salmon run, it's like a big deal. Like, people like start celebrating.
That's the trophy.
Yeah, it's like, you catch a 12-pound steelhead, and like it's like you like became Jesus and ascended from the heavens.
yeah.
And like everybody gathers around, like, oh my God, you caught a trout.
Yeah.
And
It's not really what I'm looking for, but yeah, I caught
Yeah,
it.
everybody like celebrates and like high fives and all that kind of stuff.
When you say salmon to like the people that really don't know a whole lot and think like, oh, salmon, that's only in Alaska. Like, what types of salmon are swimming in the rivers that you're targeting?
Yeah, so out of Ontario, it's mainly Chinook or king salmon, and uprend for
That's
that.
the thing about salmon. Like every salmon has like three
Oh, yeah.
names depending
Oh,
on
yeah.
where you're at talking
Dog salmon,
about them.
chum salmon, like every
Yeah, 100%.
Chinooks, kings,
So like
silvers, reds, like
the majority you're gonna see is as a king salmon, but I mean, to eat them, they taste terrible. It's like it's either getting a tree, like they make the joke you cook the salmon on a wood plank and eat the wood instead and throw the
Yeah.
salmon
We
away.
actually
recipe.
made a joke about
Yeah.
that with carp.
for
too.
eating carp. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
honestly that's probably pretty similar. Eating a zombie king is
Honestly,
about
I'd rather
eating
eat
a
a
carp.
carp.
Yeah, honestly. But they also have Atlantic salmon, which are actually the natives that have been there forever, and they're trying to reintroduce them. And those are pretty cool to catch, but you don't want to keep them because they can actually like spawn and go back
Yeah.
to the lake and run more than once, which is rare for salmon. And then there's the coho salmon, which are they turn bright red.
Fire trucks.
Yeah, when they run, and that's what I'm really after them up there because they fight like bulldogs.
Yeah.
And, you see a big fire engine salmon coming at you, you want to catch that. And to eat them, they taste pretty good because, I mean, they don't really die until February, March. So they
So
stick
you
around the
can
river
catch
a long
them,
time.
they're not falling apart and have growths on them like the kings
Yeah,
do.
that's the
Yeah.
one thing that kind of sucks about when a lot of the salmon that you catch, once they start spawning, they come like up in Alaska, they come from the salt water to the fresh water. After a couple weeks, they ain't worth a shit to eat.
Oh, yeah.
You're just catching them for fun.
Yeah, they're fun to catch and they're cool looking, but most of the time, I don't usually eat fish, so I just kick them back in anyway. But
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see dudes walking out with ropes full of fish with flesh falling off, and you're just like,
You
Dra-
really gonna eat that?
Yeah.
dude?
like, oh, I don't
Dragging
know
them
about
through
that
the
one,
mud.
dude.
Yeah.
Big male, not even
Yeah.
a female full of eggs or anything,
Yeah.
just like useless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
roasted in the sun all day, and you caught it, first light, and you slept on a rope on the bank, and
You could
That's
pick,
good eating
you
right
could
there.
pick it
That
up
one.
by its head and it's as stiff as a board, just sticks straight out.
it's delicious.
So is that a difference between like Alaskan king salmon and like the ones that we have like introduced into the Great Lakes? Like, is the reason why they turn like bright red up there because they come from salt water into the fresh water, or is that just like the strain of king salmon that's like introduced into our Great Lakes?
I don't know 100% about the biology because I'm not a biology major.
Yeah.
So
That's
you're
all that
asking
matters.
questions above my
Yeah.
pay grade, but my assumption is that it is because they're coming from the salt to the fresh. But what I learned, like when I was king salmon fishing, or not king's fishing, but when I was commercial fishing, is like obviously they're born in the river.
And
They
commercial fishing, what are you talking about? Like for people who don't know what a commercial fisherman
just net
is.
fishing, catching, 10,000 pounds of salmon in a
When
day.
you
out
when
of
you
the
go
net.
to the store and you buy a pack of sushi that's got raw king salmon in it,
Yeah.
that's Frank put that fish
I
there.
caught it.
Frank
That's
caught,
welcome.
Frank caught every king salmon that's at Giant Eagle.
If you
Everyone?
if you flip the pack
Everyone.
over and you look really closely, there's a little picture of his face. Giving
Yeah.
you a
I
thumbs
put my
up on the
signature
bag.
on all of them.
You're welcome,
Anyways.
Martha.
But they're born in the river and then they go out to sea up in Alaska, and so that's what I'm basing my knowledge off of, because I don't do a lot of salmon or trout fishing around Pennsylvania or up in New York. But when they go out to sea, when they come back and we're catching them, during the commercial season, when they age them, there's 2 numbers to the age. Like if it's like a 2-2 or a 1-2, they age them. They have so many years in the river. The first number is the river age, and then the second number is the ocean age. So, and you like the bigger ones, like back when the king run was huge, it's dwindled a lot in the last 10 years, 15 years. But the monster kings that people were catching would spend a couple years in the river, and then they'd go out and they'd spend 4 years in the ocean. So that's where how they age them. It's not like you have a 6-year-old fish. It'll be a 2-4.
Okay,
is
so
how they talk about it.
2 river years and 4 ocean years.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
That's kind of a cool way to look at it too. How do they judge that? Like,
I honestly, and I don't know anything
Above
about
you?
biology. Yeah, it's way out of my pay. But there's biologists. We would
Yeah.
hear about the biologists all the time, and we would have to listen to the radio all the time because they would open and close our seasons all the time, throughout the day, just because they have counters in the river. So they'd want so many fish to get up the river, and once they have the number they want up the river, they say, okay, commercial fishermen can keep as many fish as you want, and so that's how we would have to do it. So, but I don't know how they age them. I have literally no idea how they decipher if one's a 2-2 or a 2-3 or however. I have no idea. But back to your question about the salt changing their color, I feel like that would have something to do with it, but I've never really experienced. I've never caught a king in New York, or so.
they look brown and black, and their skin falls off. They
look
don't
like
get
a big
pretty.
muddy fish,
So they turn into
imagine
zombies.
a carp that's a king salmon.
Yeah, carp that's a king salmon. So
But
a
I don't.
really
That's what I don't
gross
get.
carp.
But the cohos, they get bright red. So why don't
Yeah.
the kings?
Speaking of bright red fish, were you up in Alaska last year? Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me about that record sockeye run, because you were mentioning the sonars, and I think that's interesting how they count every fish that goes into the river, and then they base the regulation on how much fish you can keep based on how many are running.
Yeah.
But what was that sockeye run like? Because that's crazy. That's so many fish. It was like 300 million or something.
Yeah, they definitely had a record run, but the problem with that was last year, most of those fish didn't even spawn because they had a record hot year. So the water was way hotter than they normally spawn in. So a lot of the fish were dying before they even spawned. So they had a record number of fish up the river, but in 2 years they're not going to have a record number of fish coming out. So whether or not that'll, in 5-6 years when those fish should be coming back in, how that'll change the run, I don't know. But they had a lot up the river. I didn't really get to fish it because when I'm up there, I'm not there for fishing really. I do a little bit of fishing, but I'm mostly there for hunters. So, and I didn't really get much of the sockeye. I got a little bit of the silvers, but I didn't do much sockeye fishing. So a lot of that has to do with the water temperature and how well the spawn went, for future years when people come back to fish them. And it definitely was not a good year for the spawn. It was a great year for the run, but not the spawn.
When you're up there doing the commercial fishing and whatnot, do you have guys that are targeting salmon in the saltwater before they spawn, out there trolling or trying to catch fresh kings, or just almost like sport fishermen? I know in Ontario there's thousands of guys that go out there and troll for king salmon in 300-400 foot of water well before they even come into the streams. Do people do that in Alaska, or is that just kind of there's just always fish in the stream, so you just wait till they come in?
Honestly, I don't really know because I'm not where I was commercial fishing. Wasn't out in the salt water. I was in brackish water, in the mouth of the rivers.
Okay.
So I don't really know for that. And where I'm at, I worked for a guy that was a set netter. So we worked off of the shore, but then there's drift netters that work out of boats out in the water, and they're not very nice people. So if anyone else gets near them, they're flipping out. So I never saw a sport fisherman out in the bay where we were commercial fishing. We got shut down for several days out in the bay, but we were allowed to fish in the river, and we saw sport fishermen up in the river, but as far as out in the bay goes, I never saw a sport fisherman.
Just because I know they go out for like halibut and stuff up there, but I just didn't know.
Cod.
Yeah, like if I was up in Alaska, like you bet I would take my boat out there and try and catch a 60-pound king that's chromer than can be. Like that would be an insane
The
fight.
best eating right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually would catch a couple of kings once in a while we were, had our nets out, because the nets are sized for the fish, so you wouldn't really get much bycatch. But once in a while, a king would just get its bottom jaw tangled up in your net. And the one guy that had a site right next to us caught like a 60-pounder.
Wow.
And, it was insane. Like, I can't even describe this fish. It was a monster.
I'm hoping that, I know we're not going to be catching kings and whatnot, but like the biggest steelhead I've ever caught around here is probably like, I don't know, 10, 11 pounds maybe. So I'm just excited to, like, on my fly rod, to catch a hopefully maybe 15 or poke that 20, 25 pound range up there. That would just be unreal. I mean, I've caught kings and browns in New York that are 25 pounds or, well, probably like more towards that 18 pounds, and the kings are like maybe that 20 at the max. But I just am tickled pink to think that I'm going to be in Alaska and could have a fresh salmon on that's 20 pounds just screaming down the river. That's going to be nuts.
It's more the thought that like anything's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything.
Yeah, when we're fishing, it's like, okay, I'm going to catch a brown or a salmon. I'm going to catch a steelhead. Like, you know what you're going to catch around here. I don't know.
Yeah, if you get real crazy, you might catch a smallmouth this time of year.
Yeah. But
Yeah, you throw in anything up in Alaska, it's like
Yeah,
like
you-
gambling. You never know what you're gonna hook up with.
salmon, this salmon, that salmon, trout,
so,
doll.
trout,
Like,
grayling, dolly.
ooh, a
northern
northern.
char,
Like, yeah, you,
Yeah.
occasional pike.
yeah.
Honestly, when I'm up there, since I don't like salmon at all, I spend all my time northern fishing. That's like my go-to thing.
Are there now, like, certain? I know it's different in every spot, but do you ever get into like big northerns up there? I know that there's so many of them, so they kind of compete each other out, so they don't get monstrous. But like, what size do you get up there?
I've never gotten to any like monster northerns, like 24 to 36. I think I caught like a 39 one time, but they're never like super chunky, healthy fish. You're not gonna. I've never caught like a 20-pound northern
Yeah.
up there. They're pretty average sized northerns.
Pretty-
just
pretty
normal
snaky,
stuff
just-
that we would catch
yeah.
around here. But I know people that have caught some monsters, but I've never been.
Do you
in-
eat your northerns up there? Because I
Oh,
know
yeah.
some people
Big
love
time.
them.
Yeah, I love them. That's one of my favorite fish to eat, honestly.
Really,
They're good, yeah.
if you can learn how to fillet them, I guess. I know some
Mhm.
people that are a pain in the butt, and you
They
get
gotta
a
have
bone
wide
every
bones.
bite.
Yeah.
We catch a lot of them up in Minnesota, and they're a pain to fillet. But I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, you put in the time, they're
Yeah, they're definitely good.
they're a hella good fish on the fry.
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure.
So,
I had a guy who, actually two complete opposite reactions. I was catching muskie, and the first one I threw back, and a guy was absolutely baffled that I threw the fish back because it was over the 40-inch, so I could have bagged it, and it might be, is it 36?
it's 40.
40 is the legal
That's what
limit,
I thought.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
honestly, I've never met a muskie fisherman, like someone that actually cares about muskie fishing. I've never seen somebody keep a fish.
No, I've never kept a muskie in my life. But
Me either.
what I'm saying is that guy was baffled that I threw that fish back and was telling me how great muskie taste, and they're like way better. Like if you like northerns, then oh my god, you're gonna love muskie. But
I love
so-
catching them a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I put him back, and then it was a nice fish, so I wanted a picture with it, so had it down in the water, and picked it out of the water for a picture, and this was ways later, and I had it out of the water for maybe like 100% honestly, maybe 15, 20 seconds, which, yeah, to some muskie fishermen, oh my goodness, that's terrible. But as long as you get it out of the water, you bump board it, get its measurement, take your quick picture, get it back, and I've never had a muskie that struggled to get back. I mean, if the
Yeah.
water's a lot hotter and whatnot,
Yeah, they're
you
a
might
little
want to
lethargic.
might want to keep it in the water more. But when the water's ice cold and whatnot, I mean, if you have the right equipment and have enough line and everything, and can bring them in real quick without stressing them
Yeah.
out, they're pretty resilient fish.
Yeah, but like you said, it's about having the right tackle. If you don't have the right tackle with a muskie, you can stress them out super quick.
Well, if anybody saw that video, the guy in the bay, Lake
yeah, I
Erie's
did,
Bay,
I
that
did
my
see
God.
that.
He-
That broke my heart. I was crying.
A 30-year-old fish, easy.
that
Yeah.
Just
that fish
abused.
was enormous, and he beat it up with 4-pound line. Like he was bobber fishing or perch fishing or something. He caught it on an emerald shiner, and obviously wasn't his target fish. So you
Yeah,
can't.
it probably
I
took
mean,
him a half hour to
yeah,
bring
you
it
can't
in.
you can't get
right?
mad at the guy because you never know what you're gonna catch.
Yeah, it wasn't
but-
his fault
so-
that he hooked up with it.
But the
Yeah.
way that he treated that fish was just, I mean, I get it. If you're going to keep a muskie and you're going to eat it, then that's what you got to do. Then, okay, keep the muskie. But if you're not going to keep it and throw it back,
Take care of it.
then why would you beat it up and let it die and sink to the bottom? Like, that's
Yeah.
just,
I will give him one thing, and like I barely even want to give him this little bit of credit, but he actually threw it back, which is very surprising because a lot of these guys you see down to fish the pier, like you never know. Like most of
Yeah.
them go there, they catch, they keep whatever they catch, and they leave. Like that muskie could have easily ended up in the freezer.
Yeah.
but,
So-
it might as well have, though, because he
Yeah, at the
bounced
end
it
of
off
the
the
day,
rocks and it floated and went belly up, and then he went down and didn't revive it, but just pushed it down into the deeps. So I
no
mean,
one was looking at it.
that fish, I have all confidence that it laid right on the bottom
Yeah.
where it
That's,
where it was
that's
in.
definitely dead. Well,
Yeah.
he had his whole forearm in the fish's gills, like
Yeah.
holding
It
the
was-
fish by its neck.
And that's just,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
like,
just
you can't.
hold a big fish by its gills.
No.
Like, that's just like they tell you, like from day one, like angling 101, like you never even
You gotta
weigh
support
a big
its
fish
body.
by its gills. Like
Yeah.
you put it in the net, you weigh it, and then subtract the net weight. Like
Yeah.
and that guy just the fact that his hand didn't even get torn up from the
I
teeth
know.
He
inside
had
the
a big old
gills.
glove on though, so
Oh, he did.
yeah,
I didn't
I can
look
almost
that hard.
imagine how that went. That
was too
he
pissed
he
when I
was
looked at the
he was
picture.
he was perch fishing, and then
Yeah.
oh crap, hey, someone, now I got it up on the bank, go run to the car, get the glove, put it on. Like I don't know what happened, but it just, like you said, broke my heart to watch that thing float away.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm surprised it wasn't. I'm surprised that it wasn't shared more on a bunch of different pages.
I know. I thought the same
It was
thing.
not
'cause-
shared. Like I had people that like don't even fish share it on Facebook and all
Mhm.
sorts of stuff like that, and I'm like, who are these people? Like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't on any like legitimate fishing page, and I thought for sure that would have been a big topic because like that's
Mm-hmm.
you don't catch a 50-pound muskie in the 50-inch range, especially out of Lake Erie very
Yeah,
often. Like
exactly.
that's something else right there. But of all the people that could have caught it,
Yeah,
could have.
Definitely could have been somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, not knocking the guy because like you can't help but you hook.
Yeah,
but-
it was a total accident, but the way
But
he
he
treated
could've-
the fish afterwards.
Yeah,
you
there
know,
could have been people around to help out with that situation because like a muskie, no matter what, it's always a 2-3 person fish. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm very good at what I do, and even the one I
Well,
caught
well,
with Luke, it
well,
was
me and
only
you
like
go, it's-
37 inches.
we
We were
struggle.
both like working together and trying to film. Like we were, both fish we caught were out of the water for a couple minutes max.
Yeah,
not
you
even,
unhook 'em in
maybe
the
a
net
minute,
in the
and
water.
yeah, they stayed in the net
not
the
even
whole time.
not even out of the water, but like in our possession for a minute and
Oh,
a
they were
half.
they
But
were in the air away from the water for no more than like 40 seconds. The
Yeah.
rest of the time was spent sitting in the net.
Yeah.
In the water.
Mhm.
For sure.
you adjust it, get a picture, throw it on your bump board, and get it right back in the water. And
Yeah.
those fish though, they say you hold them upright and kind of let them get their bearings and let them go, but we would dip their nose back in the water, and they're just
Ready to rip.
pull a piss and vinegar, and they're going.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of muskie, if you guys want to head over to my YouTube channel and check out the video, it dropped about 45 minutes ago, and you'll see we're not kidding with the release. That
Yeah.
both fish took right off, like couldn't hold on to them at
Yeah.
all. But
They do a couple
You're
gator
interested.
rolls as you're holding on to them.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you don't want to hold on to them when they're doing that because we're bank fishing and there's just rock ledges and everything. So you don't want to hold them too long, or even when you reel them in, you want to get them to the surface and get that net under them because those fish don't know any better than to beat themselves up on the rocks trying
Yeah,
to get your
exactly.
hook out of them. So you just got to really take care of the fish, and if you are going to target them and doing it for the sport, then just realize what you're doing, and that if you do mistreat them, get ready for the heat because a lot of them guys who
People are
musky
gonna
fish
be pissed.
are pretty serious about it.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Musky fishermen are some of the most serious people about caring for fish that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
so I've heard Anthony's never caught a muskie before.
Never
That's
once.
how he knows how
Yeah,
to do
what
his
happened
dunk.
there?
He's just sitting over there quiet, like, I
What?
hope
All he
nobody
knows how
brings
to
it
do
up.
is
I hope
dump
nobody
him.
brings it
Well,
up.
you know that's bullshit. I can pull up musky pictures right now.
I know, I'm kidding. But your
But-
track record this year, I had to give you a little bit.
I mean, I've only tried once, and it was, you know,
Well, you guys were gonna go again this weekend, but
We're
as
gonna
you
go
said, you
tomorrow morning. Yeah.
you're gonna go tomorrow morning, and then
then I
Found some
found
carp.
kind
Yeah,
of stumbled on
carp.
some carp and realized that your fish of 10,000 casts are
The fish of one cast.
one
Yeah.
cast. And,
I mean, I just
Good
called
chance
him and I was like, "We can go catch muskie, but if we don't catch anything, I know there were 60 carp. We're gonna be
We could
kicking
go catch
ourselves in the
one
ass."
muskie
Yeah.
or 50 carp.
It took
you pick.
all of about 30 seconds for me to change my mind.
Yeah. He was like, "But I want to catch a muskie." I was like, "No, you want to catch 50 carp."
Yeah.
You're right.
You know what? Yeah.
That's funny.
But that's I'm excited because like you said you were gonna go tomorrow. I'm going, like I said earlier, flathead fish, well, catfishing. But my goal tomorrow, I mean, I love catching channel cats and any catfish is cool, but I want to get that 20-pound flathead on the end of my line because those things are just
Yeah, we don't usually
Bricks.
catch a whole lot of flatheads. We get mostly channels.
around in
In the-
Lake
in the
Erie.
lake,
There, I've heard of flatheads in Lake Erie, and a lot of people like channel cats can. You catch a lot of channel cats. A lot of them look different than others, but
Yeah.
when you catch a flathead, like
You know
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've had people show me pictures, like, "Yo, look at this flathead I caught," and I'm like,
That's just kind of a brown
that's a
channel.
really brown
channel.
Yeah. But so we'll hopefully have some pictures up on our page after this weekend of some flatheads to show you guys, so you can actually tell what's a flathead. But
Yeah.
another thing
Have
you
a comparison.
said that you've caught a couple or seen people catch a couple out of Erie. I have also heard stories. I personally have never seen one, but of blue cats in Lake Erie.
I've never seen one, or I've never even seen
Well-
somebody catch one.
I believe it.
Yep, my buddy Levi.
believe
Levi caught one?
No, he didn't catch one, but he knows somebody.
Stupid story.
Here comes
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
boy.
But anyways, he's grown up on the lake, and I've fished with him, and you
He
know
definitely knows
yeah,
what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
you know, fishermen get the wrath that they say they caught this and only caught this, or
Get 7,
they-
8 beers in
yeah,
them.
but- you-
It's wild.
30.
yeah, that 6-pound bass I caught earlier could easily turn into a 10-pound bass at the end of
State
the night.
record.
Yeah, so I dumped a state record. Yeah, but
Top scald.
Picker it didn't happen.
yeah. So
Clickbait.
that's why I trust Levi. He's a valid source, and
Yeah, I agree.
I said earlier we need to get him on here because he's got 40 years of experience fishing Lake Erie. And
I always forget how old Levi is, like when we're fishing with him,
Yeah.
because me and Luke are pretty much the same age, and Levi always comes with us, and he doesn't look as old as he is, and he's like telling stories. I'm like, how old are you, dude?
he's like talking like back when like the plants on the shorelines of the bay were running, and me and Frank are like,
What?
plant's been shut down for 30 years. Like what?
Yeah.
But
Let's be real. I've never heard of a person named Levi that's like been old. Every Levi I know is like 20,
Exactly. Yeah.
25,
Levi
maybe.
is 49 right now. No,
I don't.
He might be.
He's that. No way.
Yeah, because
Say 40
I'm
years on the lake. That would put him
no.
at 9
he,
when he started.
he-
I mean,
he's 39
Yeah. Okay. I believe
or
that.
40 because because at work I'm 19. The next buddy from me is 29, and then Levi was 39, then a girl was 49, and then our painter was 59. Like it was weird how like our ages all lined up exactly 10 years apart. But yeah, Levi's 20 years older than me. So, but we'll get him on here and he can give us a little.
Yeah, he definitely knows what he's
Little
talking
intel.
about when it
I
comes
think-
to Lake Erie.
I think he's up to. Let's see, he's almost pushing that 20 mark this year for walleye.
blue cats?
Yeah, he's got 20 blue cats out of Lake Erie. No, 20 walleye from shore, and
That's
that's
not bad.
When you think walleye fishing Lake Erie, you're like, oh yeah, you can go out and catch 20 in a day, but
Yeah, that's trolling the
catching
deep
20
water.
from standing on the bank is another story.
It's a fun time doing that though.
It is a really good
nothing like a
time.
walleye crashing a Rapala F13 off the top. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's fun. That's
Yeah.
He
pitch
caught a
black, just listening to the sound and
He caught a 30-inch lake trout doing that from shore, like 10 foot of water. He was fishing for,
Really?
it was actually the first time he went out. He caught a brown trout and sent me a picture and was like, dude, I was fishing for walleye and just caught this
Oh, I
nice
remember
brown.
this, yeah.
And
That's not a brown, buddy.
Well, no,
Say
no.
latitude
Oh,
and longitude
whoa.
now.
No,
You just
no,
smacked your mic?
yeah, I did. No, it was a brown, and I was like, yo, Bailey. I was like, my buddy just smacked this brown from shore. And he's like, dude, that's sick. And half hour later, Levi texted me and was like, yo. And I was like, what? And he dropped a picture of a lake trout. I was like, you just caught a
Where
brown.
are you?
Yeah, you
Was
caught
this
a brown
recent?
and a lake trout. Yeah, this was a couple weeks ago.
Where
And-
were we when you were telling me this?
Yeah.
Because we were fishing or something.
Yeah, I
I think
I
we, you
forget.
know what? I think we were muskie fishing.
We might have. Yeah,
Or
we might have
driving
been.
back from it. Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, he just caught a brown and then a lake trout in like half an hour, and then like 20 minutes later drops another
Dude.
pick, and caught a walleye. He caught 3 fish in like an hour, and there were 3 different species, and they were all
That's
nice
nuts.
fish. So I was like, where are you? Please
Help.
I'm on my way. But
That's
no,
hilarious.
he just knows those shorelines, and
Mm-hmm.
we're getting there with the streams. I mean, Bailey can post a picture, Anthony posts a picture. I think even Anthony, who's been here less time than me but has spent more time on the water, there'll be a picture and Anthony's like, oh, I know where that's at. I know where that's at. He's like, oh, I know where that's at. And I'm like, how do you guys know where I am? I send you guys a picture and you're like, oh, you're right over here. And I'm like, stay out of my spot.
I mean, the thing is, Bailey knows this. Like, we live here, but we're not locals. So, like, when
Yeah.
you move here, like, nobody will tell you shit.
Yeah.
Nothing. So, like, if you don't put the miles in, you don't walk and find shit for yourself, like, you're not going to know anything.
Yeah, and that's the best way. Somebody can tell you, but I can tell you, like, not to make me sound like a bad guy, but people who aren't real decent to me or have an arrogant attitude and then think they're the best and ask me about fishing, I'll send them on a wild goose chase and tell them that this is where you need to go, and I've never caught a fish there in my life. So
Go to 13 Mile Creek.
Yeah.
13
Or
Mile Creek
6
is
Mile.
famous.
yeah,
We
so,
made 13 Mile Creek famous.
Yep.
so
They're
yeah,
all
you-
there. Everyone go there.
Yep. 13 Mile Creek, Erie, Pennsylvania. But no, if you, like you said, you got to put the miles in. If you're the one who wants to catch fish, the best way to do it's for you to get out there and catch them. Like, you can't listen to somebody and expect
You gotta
the
put in
best.
the work.
Yeah.
And that's what drives me nuts about the fishing world today. Everyone wants everything spoon fed to them, and like that's a big problem with Erie. And a lot of guys, especially from like out of town, they expect people to tell them where everything's at. Like, and I get you're not local, but it's a simple just check the internet, read the gauges, check out the cameras, look at the water, and just judge it. You know,
And sometimes I'm not-
It's not that hard. I mean, I
We're,
don't think
we're
it
not
is.
the most we're not the most stingy people out there. Like, I mean, you've showed me some of your spots and I've showed you some of mine, but it's kind of like give and take. I mean, there's and you've been there, or you've never fished it, but you've known where some of the places are, and I mean, just sharing information is all part of it. But when you get the guy who thinks he knows it all, and then after he told you he knows everything, asks for your help, I'm not going to give it to you.
Yeah.
I think my mentality comes from a few different places. You know, one being, like we just talked about, you know, moving here and, you know, kind of putting the leg work in myself, and, you know, I don't want to give it the information up. Another would be, like, you know, I got on the side. So if
Yeah.
I give you a spot that's stacked with fish and I want to take a client there, that's
Yeah.
kind of dumb on me because that's taking money out of my pocket, because then I work harder to get this client on fish, but I know they're there. So
Mm-hmm.
why would I just give some random dude in my DMs on Insta a pin
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah.
And like, there's plenty of them. I get all the time. Like, and I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just,
Yeah,
You know?
but, yeah, I know what you're
you know.
saying.
Yeah.
That's the
kind-
crazy part. How we know every inch of pretty much every creek, pretty close to it, and we've been fishing the streams around here for. I started steelhead fishing when my dad never really took me out fishing. He wasn't big on it. He's more of a hunter, and so I started like steelhead fishing when I got my license and I could drive. And,
Yeah.
that's when I started like learning stuff. But I fished the streams hard for the last like 5-6 years, and so has he. And Anthony and I never even knew each other existed, and like the way we got like
You were
introduced-
talking about that earlier.
we got introduced together in a really interesting way, and we got brought together. We're gonna have
Is
a
it
huge
is it
shout out to
podcast appropriate for this?
We're gonna
we can make it podcast
We'll make it
appropriate.
podcast appropriate. We can,
Clean it
big
up a
shout
little
out
bit.
to Brad Porter for bringing us together on this. But
The legend of Meadville KOA.
so this kid,
Red Ball Porter.
Brad
I know you're
Porter,
listening.
a lot of people know him just because he's all over the place on he's just always posting stuff and commenting on things. And anyways, he added the two of us together in a group chat after he would DM me, just talking, like literally just talking, not even asking me for information, just like really, hey, what's going on, like just stuff like that, whatever. And at the time, I think he was like maybe 16, 17 years old. And he was doing the same thing with Anthony. And then one day he like threw us in a chat together. And so naturally thinking, I thought him and Anthony were good friends.
Yeah.
So Anthony's like, kind of, just we're shooting like sarcastic like comments back and forth, just kind of busting each other's balls. You know how it
Yeah.
is,
Typical.
guys talk. And the one day I messaged him on the side, and I was just like, "Yo," I was like, "So how long have you known Brad?" And he's like, "I've never.
I
met
don't
him
know
before."
this dude.
He's like, "I've never even met him," and I'm like, "Wait a minute." And
You
I was
wanna
like-
hang out?
I was like, "Same." And then we ended up our first trip together. I took him. This just tells you how I knew he was, a good dude from the start. I took him to one of my best wild brown spots, like in this whole state. Like it's incredible here. You can almost guaranteed catch a 20 plus every time you go there.
Yeah.
And so I took him there the first time we ever fished together. And like I was like, man, what if this is a backfire and this dude blows up?
This
my
guy's gonna
shit?
bring
And I'm
20
like,
friends.
Yeah, and so we fished together. We had a good time, and like that was it. And then he's just like, how we never known like each
Yeah.
other on the streams or like run into each other. Like it's just
Mhm.
it's just weird how it happens. But it would have never happened if Brad Porter didn't throw us together in a group
Yeah.
chat.
The crazy part is like as much as we fish and like I worked at Wegmans for a time and he works at Wegmans.
We worked at the same
and
time.
we didn't
I
like
think,
know
at the
each
same
other.
Store. We didn't even know each other.
Yeah.
It was weird.
That's crazy. You guys did the same things inside of work and outside of work
Yeah.
and never
Yeah.
even knew each other.
I had no clue who he was.
Yeah, it's so weird how it all like the more we got to know each other, like the more like it it all kind of like the more the stones were set in place for it, and I was just like, wow, it's like we really did a lot of the same shit and we had no idea,
Yeah.
And it's just cool that now you got two elites that just run Erie.
Elite is used very
we'll call it
lightly.
elites, yeah. We'll loosely use that term.
We're just kind of those guys that always catch fish, but like make it a joke and just don't really.
We have
care.
fun with it.
We have a lot of
and
fun,
that's-
yeah.
We've talked
good
about
at
that
having fun
on
with it.
almost every podcast. That
Yeah.
why are you doing it if you're not having fun?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not gonna say right now that we're not really good at catching, trout and steelhead.
Oh, yeah.
because we are.
yeah,
really
you're totally
good at
serious
it.
about it.
Yeah, if
But-
we want to be serious, we'll beat anybody, and I'm confident in saying
Oh,
that.
100%. But I'm telling you right now, 10 times out of 10,
11 times out of 10.
11 times out of 10, when we go fishing, nothing is taken seriously.
Yeah.
Like, it's
that's-
just.
Luke was telling me
that's
it's
why-
nothing but SpongeBob quotes and
Yeah.
all-
Trailer Park Boys.
You will literally hear us yelling from 100 yards downstream before you even come up on us. You
Yeah.
almost know it's us.
Oh, yeah, for
and that's
sure.
and that's why like I like fishing with you guys. I think the first person
Never
I
a dull
messaged I think
moment.
was Bailey, and the same thing. I DM'd him on Instagram, and like I knew his little sister, but like I never met him,
whoa,
and
whoa,
like
whoa.
yeah
Back off, dude.
and so like I was like, well, this guy, like, I mean, I don't like know him, but like I know he fishes and like he seems like a good guy, and like I'm fishing all the time. Like, why not hit him up and see if he wants to get together? Because like I was always looking like for someone to go out with, whether I I was free and all my other friends had plans, or a lot of my other friends aren't super serious about fishing. I mean, they'll go with me, but they're not like diehard like these guys. And so I texted Bailey and he was like, actually, like, me and Anthony are going to go steelhead fishing if you want to come. And I was like, yeah, like I can film. Like I know noticed you're into filming, and like I checked out your YouTube page. Like I'm just trying to get into it too. Maybe you can like show me some stuff. And he was like, yeah, let's go. So first time we went out steelhead fishing, like we didn't destroy them, but we caught a nice handful of fish. And it was like the first time I like took my camera out videoing steelhead. So I got like a lot of tips and pointers from him and whatnot. And then it just kind of spiraled off from there. And then the next weekend it was, hey, I'm going to go do this. You want to come? Yeah. And then, hey, you want to go out on the boat or you want to go muskie fishing? And it just kind of,
Now here we sit on a podcast.
yeah, chain reacted from there. And now we're all sitting around a table and we're going to be watching SpongeBob in Alaska in a few weeks.
So let's run it back to the boat, because we were all talking about a plan for this
Oh,
Sunday.
my goodness.
We got to figure out. We need to do something big.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our boat. I thought you were talking about this weekend.
Let's talk about the boat.
Let's talk about Bailey's boat.
The
Bailey
best-
purchased the
Oh,
first
wait,
boat.
Wait,
Oh,
we're gonna talk
my.
about the
We have a
best
story
14
for
hours
you.
of Bailey's life.
All right.
New boat owner alert.
I
Well,
need to take.
with an
hold on
asterisk.
1 second. Let me take a swig of beer. before I
So
tell
while he's
this.
drinking, this is gonna be the greatest 14-hour story of Bailey's life.
I know that the listeners won't appreciate this story as much as we did.
They better
'cause-
appreciate it.
I'm
because
telling you
we were
right
the
now.
ones in the boat, but it was a deal. But I'll start it and then kick it to you just
All right.
from my perspective. So Bailey and Anthony have been like looking and sending me boats and like asking me what I think about them, and like I just knew that like they were in the market for a boat, you know, just something small, like easy to like drag around and just kind of beat up. So I was driving home from my grandpa's house, and there's a sign from God on the side of the road that says "Boat for sale, $100 cash."
The sun was shining down.
Immediately, baby.
Yeah.
A rainbow.
It
I
glowed.
slammed on the brakes and whipped into this dude's driveway with like Bailey on speed dial. Like, bro, there's a boat. and he's like, you give that dude $100 right now. And I was like, bet. I went down to Country Fair, hit the ATM up, came right back to the dude's house. He's like, wow. He's like, you weren't kidding. I was like, no. I'm like, this is us. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna pull it like behind the weeds and call it a day. And I was like, Bailey, I'm like, you've got a boat. So I'll leave it to you from there. So you set the arrangements up. So how'd that go?
So I'd like to tell you a love story on how my heart got torn out of my absolute chest. So Anthony and I are enjoying a nice night catfishing. We didn't catch anything because it was way
typical.
too early, and what he was talking about earlier in the podcast, like the catfishing, it's not ideal right now. The creek mouth got all messed up, but that's not the point. The point is our beloved boat. And
Rest in peace,
So-
little guy.
Yeah.
Luke drops pics on the chat, and without even looking at the photos at the same time, we both were like, buy it now.
Done deal.
And immediately I roll up and I was like, you see that boat? He's like, yeah. And so we call him, he goes, he paid for it, whatever, he dropped the cash off. And he's like, yo, give the guy a call. And I was like, all right, cool, yeah. So I threw the dude on speaker, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, we just bought your boat. My friend just dropped off the cash. I was like, we're about to scoop it tomorrow. I'm like, it's a done deal. I'm like, when's good for you? And this guy, I mean, he was a nice guy, but man, he could talk forever. Oh my God. He just kept going on about like what he's doing at work and like tomorrow and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, like we got the boat. Can I roll up at 5? Have a nice day. And so I hang up the phone. And like we were all excited, we're like, "Yo, we got a boat." We started talking about this lake, that lake,
we
this
had
pond,
plans.
what we wanted to
that
do
was
with
on,
it.
That was on a Wednesday, and we
Yeah.
had plans to use that boat on Sunday.
That Sunday for the trip where we dragged those kayaks 15 freaking miles through the woods.
Yeah, where Anthony gave you the nice description of the ratchet straps and
Oh my
dollies
God.
and motorcycle trailer. But anyways,
So we get
got
this
this boat and we're stoked for Sunday.
And I'm like, this is great. I'm like, we got a boat. And I'm like, I'm a simple man. All right, I've never
simple
owned a
man.
boat or anything close to a boat my entire life. And so we got a 14-foot John boat, like
And-
a fiberglass one. It had
And what were you gonna
seats
get
and-
for it
What?
that weekend?
Oh yeah. So I'm like, yeah, we got all this. I'm like, we got this boat. We're good to go. And Anthony's like, yo, I got this trolling motor back in Philly. He's like, let me call my pap. He answers the phone. And we're like, hey, we just bought a boat. And he's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, yeah. Anthony, what did he say again?
So, a side story from this story. I used to have a 14-foot John boat.
Okay.
That got stolen.
Okay.
Just
Anyway,
come full circle.
Just
Just
wait
a
a
lot of
second.
circles. There's a lot of circles crossing
no
each other right now.
corners, just circles.
Yeah, there's no corners here.
Bailey almost spit his beer out.
So, I used to have a 14-foot John boat, rest in peace,
Used to.
that was stolen for scrap because #Philadelphia.
Bailey used to
But-
have a boat.
But I still have the motor sitting in my grandfather's basement. So I called him up and I said, do you still have that motor from our old boat? And he's like, yeah, I was saving it for you. And I was like, well, we got a boat. I'm going to come this weekend and get it. So he was all hyped because, like, I've been to Philly, like, a year and a half. So throw it back to Bailey.
Well,
and then what happened?
Meanwhile, Anthony told his pap he bought a boat. Bailey goes and tells 8 people he bought a boat. I've
Oh
told
my
about
God.
5
Somebody
people.
bought a boat.
I told like 5 people that, yo, we got a boat. Like, cause
This
like,
boat's a big deal.
It was. We were all.
It's
like,
a real big
Everybody
deal.
knows about the boat.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were all stoked about this. Like, I told my dad, like my mom, my brothers, like all my buddies. I'm like, bro, we got like a perfect boat for like small like lakes and everything, just creeks. It's gonna be awesome.
Wait, maybe too many people knew about this boat.
Ooh.
Oh.
Anyways, we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Bailey.
All right, so my girlfriend rolls up, and I was like, hey, I'm like, we bought a boat. She's like, oh, okay. And like,
Doesn't
she
even
was
care.
thinking like, she was like, oh boy, what did they just do? So I showed her the pictures of it. She's like, that's not a boat. And I'm like, yes, it is. I'm like,
It floats.
I'm like, it floats. We could stand up on it and put 2-3 people with a camera.
It's
I'm like, we're good.
$100.
I'm like-
Okay, how much do you
Well,
want?
when I told her it was $100, she was like, oh yeah, like that's not bad. I was like, exactly. I'm like, why wouldn't we buy it?
This thing was like, you can't buy a kayak or a canoe
Oh,
for
no.
$100.
That's what I'm saying.
And this thing, honestly, it was probably like a 12, 13 foot John boat with 3 bench seats, and like it had 3 swivel seats mounted to each bench seat.
It was nice.
And like it was
really nice.
fiberglass, like all done up. It was a good boat.
So I get to work the next day. I'm all excited because I get to pick up my boat today, you know? And so I'm telling everybody at work, I'm like, yo, I just bought a boat. Check this out. Showing pictures, all this stuff. And then my one, the grocery manager where I work, he's a big-time outdoorsman. And so I was telling him about it. He was like, oh, yeah. And, like, he let me sneak out a little earlier to go pick it up. So I get to my girlfriend's house, just, like, laying in the bed. And I text the guy. And I'm like, hey, I'm about to pick the boat up. And he gives me a call. He's like, yeah, I'm on my way back from work right now. He's like, whenever you want to sneak by the house, I'm good. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. And then I hang up the phone, and I'm sitting there just, I don't know, I was probably making something to eat or something like that. And, like, the phone goes off and rings again, like not even 5 minutes later. And I'm like, why is he calling me again? I was like, this is ridiculous.
He
I was
wants
like,
to have
I-
another long
I was
conversation.
like, I
with
just
you.
got off the phone with this dude after a 20-minute conversation. And so...
I forgot to tell you when I got out of work today.
Yeah, for real. Like, that's how it was. And then I think he was having side conversations on the phone while I was on the phone with him. And I was like, whatever. So he calls me back. So I just, like, ignored it. And I sent him a text. I was like, yeah, I'll be there at this time. Like, it's cool. And he sends me a text. He said, call me. And I'm like,
Uh-oh.
okay. So I call him back. He's like, yo, I just, like, did you come and pick up the boat already? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, well, somebody stole it then. And I'm like, you're kidding me. And he's like, well, it's not here. And I was like, well, where did you put it? He's like, oh, I just pulled it behind the bushes in the front yard. I was like, are you kidding me, dude? I was like, what? And like, I pulled the phone away from my head, and I bet you about like 35 different swear words came out of my mouth. And I was like, what the? Oh my god! I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
If you
And he's
got a-
like,
you got a
sure
nice
you didn't
boat-
come by and pick it up? And I was like, I swear to God,
I wrote down in my notebook earlier that I didn't go.
I'm like, I have not even left this room in the last hour. I'm like,
I'm waiting for you to get home, but I've been itching.
I'm like, why would I call you 15 minutes ago and tell you I'm coming to pick it up, and then all of a sudden you roll up at the house and it's gone? Like, there's no way in hell I would ever strap that thing down and got out of there that fast. And he's like, well, somebody stole it, and he was like freaking out, and he was like, I got a nosy neighbor that can check and all this, and he was like, well, tell your buddy to come, get his money back.
At least he did that.
So
Yeah, that was
that
cool
was
of him.
cool.
But
So I pull
that
up the
phone call
phone.
was interesting.
So I
we'll
pull
get
up
to
the
that.
phone and I text the chat, and I was like, somebody stole the boat. And
we no longer have a boat.
I was like, the boat got stolen.
I
And
thought it was
Anthony was
funny.
like, he
I
was
was
like, "That's
dead.
the funniest thing I've heard all day." But he's like, "I'm low key pissed though."
Dude, I was so upset. Like,
Oh my god!
The
Tell him
amount
about
of
when you went to
people-
go pick the
Oh,
money back up.
yeah, the amount of people that we told we had a boat and that like, and then for like, 14 hours, I think Anthony clocked it out to. Bailey was a boat owner. But so I get a phone call, and it's this guy. He's like, "Hey, did you talk to your buddy?" And I was like, "Yeah, like what happened?" And he's like, "I think he came and picked it up." And I was like, "I just talked to him and he said somebody stole it." He's like, "Well, are you sure he didn't come and get it?" And I was like, "Yeah, like
He said he didn't.
Yeah, we had plans to use it this weekend. Like I'm pretty sure
Plans are canceled.
yeah, I'm pretty sure if we had it, we'd be using it this weekend." And he's like, "Well," he's like, "my neighbor said that like a black SUV came and like stopped and was nosing around at it." And I was like, "Well, that's not my buddy's car, so it wasn't him." And anyways, so one thing led to another, but I did end up getting the $100 back for the boat. But I can tell you that $100 didn't glue up my broken heart. But
That's insane.
it was.
Literally the day he was going to pick it up. Gone.
We didn't even own it for 24 hours and it got stolen. And it was funny because the trolling motor we were going to use for it was off Anthony's boat that also got stolen. So
Lots of stolen property in this story.
Yeah.
I'm a 4-time boat owner right now. I have a clean record, and Anthony and Bailey are both 0-1 right now.
I think Anthony and Bailey are hatching a plan to steal one of your boats.
I think that's what's happening. I got them all out in the barn, so
You wouldn't miss one, right?
yeah, I wouldn't even
Probably
notice.
wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, right.
I actually got one for sale right now. If anyone's looking for a 20-foot boat, probably around $5,000, 350 motor, you could be yours. It's even got a name. But actually,
That's the most important part.
let's do a giveaway on our Instagram page. It's a $5,000 entry, and that's all you got to do to enter the giveaway is just donate $5,000 to White Cat Outdoors, and I'll enter you to win this boat. If you can guess the name of the boat, you win it. That's it.
See, right,
$5,000 entry. Guess the name, and the boat's yours.
right now the boat thief is out there somewhere listening to this,
Oh.
trying to
He's gonna
figure out like
guess.
where you
Ooh.
live.
Ooh,
He's coming
ooh.
for your boat next,
Oh, he is coming from my boat now.
or her.
I just dropped it, Bailey, that we're doing a giveaway on the White Cat Outdoor page. $5,000 to enter, and you got to guess the name of my boat, and it's yours. So I think we're going to have people jumping all over that deal.
$5,000 to enter. Yeah. $5,000 if you find our stolen boat.
Actually, $100
You get
if you
$100
find
if
it.
you find the boat.
Yeah, you get a $100 reward, and you have to give up the boat if you find it. It's like a greenish color, a broken handle, and
Ever been to Field and Stream and you see the John boats outside? It's pretty much the same thing, but it's got 3 like upright plastic seats mounted on it that swivel. That's it. And it's probably in someone's backyard collecting dust and water. So we would like it back, please. My heart is broken.
so. But I mean, I don't know how much more we got, but I'm excited to set up the next podcast with you guys about our recap, or even if we
Yeah,
do
when
a
you guys
live
get
one
back
in
from
Alaska.
Alaska.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure
That's definitely-
That'll be great.
Yeah, you should definitely try to do a live one in Alaska. That would be sick.
That'd be fun.
Like halfway through. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
you know.
awesome.
All right, so yeah, this is what happened so far, and this is our plans for the rest of it. That could
Oh,
get
for sure.
interesting.
Drop
Yeah.
a game plan.
Yeah.
Talk about what we've been doing and
Yeah.
how we've been.
There'll be a lot of SpongeBob quotes in that podcast.
I'm
That
gonna
one will just be a free for all.
I got the
I'm gonna
first
be
3 seasons on
straight
DVD.
Julian and Ricky from Trade by the time.
nonstop. Jesus. Oh, that's funny. Well, then I guess we're about wrapping it up here. So I don't know if you guys listen to the podcast, but at the end we always like to do a write it in pen for our guests to kind of take something away from the podcast that you guys kind of either like live by or fish by, something that you've learned over the years from your experiences and you would want everybody to take away from this podcast. So
I mean,
start with you, Bailey.
It could be
Write something in pen.
like a trick that you use or something, or it could even just be like an emotion or like just like an attitude to have, or just
Location you fish.
yeah
Lat
a
lawn.
location,
A
yeah,
pin drop, a
lat
lat
lawn,
lawn.
yeah, to write down. But no, like I mean, you can make it semi-serious, but like just something for the people that they can just kind of tuck in their pocket, just to give them a little bit of something to gain from our podcast.
All right, I'd like to take a minute to tell you that I will never give you any of my spots. And,
No lat lines.
Sorry, no lat lines today. But if we were on this a little longer and I had maybe 7 more beers at me, then there's a chance something might slip.
might slip.
But for all of you that are some YouTube advice for a lot of you guys getting out there, I'm telling you right now, just bring the camera and film. Just even if it sucks, just do it, because no matter
it does every time.
Because no matter what, no matter how much stuff you film, I have 25 videos on YouTube right now. I've filmed probably 100 videos, and they're just sitting there on my computer. But every time I film a video, it gives me experience, it gives me ideas, and I know what I need to work on. So I'm telling you, even though it sucks and it's hard, just take the time, film it, enjoy it, and remember it, because it's going to make you a better YouTuber. It's going to make you a better videographer. And one day, that's all going to come full circle, and you're going to know what you need to do to make good videos. And I'm not there yet, but I know one day that I'm going to have
we're gonna be
clutch
there,
stuff. So
and
just film everything and just do it all. Just try to do it all, because it'll help you in the long run.
Especially like when you look back at stuff, like we've seen this just with our podcast. When you look back at previous things that you've done, you're like, wow, look how far I've come,
Yeah.
in this short amount of time, just because
for
you're
sure.
doing it. Even though, it's not great at the beginning, but you're learning every single time, and it
you're
gets
never
better
gonna
every
be
time.
perfect your first video. I mean, I look at my first videos and I'm like, I should probably delete these, but like I
Yeah.
want them so that one day, like, a couple years in the future, if I ever really get big on YouTube,
When?
I can look
When?
back.
When you get big.
Yeah, all right. After Alaska is going to be very seriously taken, and but I want to look back on that and be like, wow, like I started here with like a $60 Sony Handycam, and now look
Yeah.
where I'm at, and just relive the journey, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
The
film
people
everything.
listening to
film
this-
everything and learn from it. That's
Yeah.
my advice.
The people listening to this podcast in 10 years, when they're watching us on TV on the Outdoors channel, are going to be wishing they did write that down in pen.
Yeah.
Names on
for
every
sure.
fly rod in the country.
real.
So, Anthony, what is your write it in pen?
I think mine's a little shorter. Mine is just, if you want to go out and fish and you want to like learn and like, actually get good at what you're doing, get off of Facebook, get out of my DMs on Instagram. I'm sorry to everybody who's in there and trying to get information, but you're not going to get it. Like, but seriously, like, get out, go buy a pole. It doesn't matter how much it costs, what it is, whatever you can afford, and just go out and like, get outside and just teach yourself and like, just get into fishing. Like, don't. Like, asking for advice is fine, but, don't make it public and don't get on there with a big head and think you're a hot shot because you caught a 6-pound bass one time on a worm,
Yeah.
in your grandpappy's old secret spot on your Zebco 3000. Like, I don't care. Just get out there and fish and, like, just make yourself better. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, just... If that's what you love to do, just
Be
do
persistent.
it.
Yeah, you
just
don't
it.
pick up a football for the first time and join the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, you got to start somewhere.
There ain't no high school quarterback DM Peyton Manning getting a response. Like,
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Like,
Yeah.
get out there and get it yourself.
It's
Yeah.
hard to fill a cup that's already full.
These are the
That
facts.
is true.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
You can't, you can learn all you want on the internet and get all the advice you want, but you're never going to learn it unless you do it.
Yeah, until you go out and actually
Do it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you can, like you said, you can read all you want and you can gain a lot of knowledge that way, but you're never really going to know if it works until you go out and do it a few times, and then that's when you're really going to learn.
And like what Anthony said is he worked his tail off for 5-6 years to learn the waters and everything, and not like in an arrogant way, but why should he give somebody a free pass to get where he is when it took him 5-6 years to gain all the information and the spots and the knowledge that he has, when this person just bought their first rod at Walmart and DM'd Anthony and wants to go catch as many fish as he is.
Not
we're
for nothing.
not-
I've
and
been
we're
burned
not
so many
perfect.
times. I've been burned so many times by people who I give, throw a bone to, and then, 3 months later they're a god.
Yeah.
And right. Like,
Well,
buddy, sit down. Like,
look
come on.
at the spot. I'm not gonna burn it any more than it is, but the spot right down the road from my house that
BB.
we have been, BB we'll call it. If you can decipher,
BBB.
if you can decipher our very hard code, you can go there. But I mean, that spot was phenomenal 5 years ago.
Not even 2.
Yeah,
Oh, last
Yeah,
year.
3 years ago. No, last year started a little bit, but
depending on the day.
I was there, and it's right down the road from my house. And for 5+ years,
Luke lives in Harbor Creek.
yeah, no, yeah. Harbor Creek is where you want to go. No, but I would go down there and just hammer the biggest fish in the area and not see anybody. Maybe see another guy, but like it was always secluded. You go down there anymore, there's a beat down path, and there is guys there 24/7, and it stinks. That's what Anthony said. Like you get burned, and then you close your mouth a little bit because people don't respect what you gave them or appreciate it.
Yeah, no, and definitely, yeah, I'm sure you still give people some minor tips, but you don't want to.
Give them
Kinda,
a Latin lawn.
Exactly, you don't want to
Yeah.
take all of the guesswork out of it for
And
them.
you can kind of tell when somebody asks, like, the tenor of their conversation. If they're looking for a
and
pin
even
drop
looking
or
at their Instagram,
Yeah.
like you could tell by what they catch and what they post, and like you could tell the different
Yeah.
areas they fish. You know if they're legit or not. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, so that was definitely a very good write it in pen. But I think we've about wrapped everything up here. So I know everybody's been wondering, where was Nick tonight? And he's here. Don't worry, his attendance
Give him-
record is still
give him-
100%. So
give him
I'm
a
gonna
shout.
I'm gonna take the headset off and I'm gonna pass my mic to Nick because
Are you letting Nick say it today?
I'm gonna
No.
Nick
Don't.
just
no.
get over here.
Oh my goodness.
Nick's coming right. He's
He's
way
walking
across
around.
the bar. I'm gonna
I
retire to Nick.
I actually got excited that I was gonna get to say it tonight, but I did talk a lot and Nick
Well-
didn't. So let's throw Nick right in
Wow,
and
Frank, that sun is bright.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice it
Uh,
until now.
Well, now that there's proof that I am here in the room with 100% attendance, I don't really give a shit if you want to say it. I just need to be on record that I didn't miss a day because when Frank goes to Alaska, he's not going to have perfect attendance.
Ooh.
No,
Ooh.
we'll work something out. We'll do a satellite podcast maybe. Who knows? But if you want to, I'll let you do.
I think
take
this
it
is
away.
the first time that I've ever got to say it.
Do you
but
remember? Do you want to look at the sheet for
Yeah.
what the words are?
Hold on, let me pull out. Yeah. Where's the paper? Let me pull it out real quick. But all right. Well, that about wrapped it up. So we're gonna sign off now, and just want to remind you guys to get outside.